Am I the a-hole for telling my sister I don't know if I love her after finding out about her 5-year affair? My sister, 32, moved in with me because she got pregnant 5 months ago from what she claimed was a one-night stand. I love my sister, so of course I took her in. My husband is overseas for 6 more months, so it was nice to have her around because I care about her very much. On Monday, I came home and saw my sister and a strange woman in a screaming match on my doorstep. I obviously didn't know what was happening, but I saw the woman poking my pregnant sister's shoulder, so I intervened. I sent my sister inside, and she begged me to send the woman away. I didn't understand what was going on, but I wanted the altercation to end for everyone's sake, so I told the woman as much. Then she started screaming, asking me if I was also sleeping with her husband. I was like, huh? And then she basically revealed that my sister had been having an affair with her husband for 5 years. 5 years. She had everything printed out. Chats, photos, emails, receipts. It was disturbing to see, and I didn't want to go through it all. But a few things were established. 1. My sister knew about his wife. She knew she was the mistress and liked it. 2. This woman was a stay-at-home mom to their 4 kids, one of whom has a severe disability from a car accident. 3. Her husband knew about my sister's pregnancy and even took her on a baby moon to celebrate it. 4. The affair had been going on the entire time, with my sister believing he would eventually leave his wife for her. 5. My sister had fully embraced the role of being the other woman and was emotionally invested in their relationship, despite his repeated lies about leaving his wife. I told the woman I was very sorry and that I obviously didn't know, but I asked her to leave because this wasn't going anywhere and I didn't want the neighbors to call the police. She was furious, but gave me her number on a post-it, begging me not to let her husband stay at my house. I assured her that no man was stepping foot in my home. My sister was begging me not to believe the woman, calling her a vindictive ex-wife. I told her, all right then, let's look up the marriage online. Let's see if a motion for dissolution of marriage was ever submitted. We fought hard. My sister kept saying I would never understand, and that they loved each other but he just couldn't leave his wife, blah blah blah. I called her dumb and naive. The next day, I told her she could stay here because I didn't want her to become a financial burden on that woman in any way. But I also told her that right now, I didn't want to engage with her. My sister asked me if I still loved her, and I told her honestly, right now, I can't say I do. I will always help my nephew and not endanger you, but I can't like you because you've shown me you're not a trustworthy person. I told her I didn't trust her not to try anything with my husband, and I didn't trust her with anything at all. So I made her sign a tenants agreement. She's been begging me to forgive her, and I told her there's nothing to forgive. I just don't know who she is anymore. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your sister's actions were incredibly hurtful and harmful. It's understandable that you need time to process this and decide whether you can rebuild trust with her. I've been where that poor wife is. It's the worst feeling in the world. Years later, I still wonder how the chick was so naive and freaking careless. We weren't friends, but she knew me, and she believed his lies that we were unhappy and were separating. They always believe the lies, and believe they're the special one he will be with forever. Well, I kicked him out, and they lasted a few months before he was calling telling me she was crazy. Surprise, surprise, that's one of the lies he told her about me, and also told me about literally every one of his exes. So yeah, giant shock. Sorry for the rambling. OP, you are very much not the a-hole. Your sister is just another sad, delusional homewrecker. I'm sorry you have to live with that knowledge now. Keep her away from your husband. Even if you trust your husband completely. Don't put him in that position to have to defend himself and fend her off if something happens. Not the a-hole. Your sister's behavior was vile and inexcusable. That poor woman and her children. Her husband is an absolute POS. I said the affair started 5 years ago, right? Now guess when she and the kid got into an accident that left the kid disabled? And your sister knew? She's a despicable person, and I'm amazed how strong you are for still keeping her housed with you. Not the a-hole. She met the kids, took them to the zoo with a bastard. Wow, that is severely ballsy. She wanted them to get to know her so she could hop right into the mom role as soon as he divorced his wife. Yeah, right. Not the a-hole. OP, not only was it crappy for her not to come clean to you after all you did, but she very easily could be putting you in danger. You have no idea if this man or his wife may become unhinged. She already showed up at your house. You expect him to visit? Literally, yes. That was also what I said, and she was like, he would never do that, blah blah blah. Do you have cameras at your house to stop him coming over when you're out? I would. We do have one of those bell camera thingies. Next story. Am I the a-hole for having my girlfriend move in while my wife still lives in my house? I told my wife that I wanted a divorce 4 years ago, but that I would save up some $15K to give her so that she didn't have to start over with nothing. I live in Texas and I had a house before we were married, so it's not up for grabs in a divorce. Last year in June, she agreed to take the money and leave, but never took the money and came back soon after, telling me she has been diagnosed with lupus. She's never worked during our marriage. I've sent her to school 3 different times, all of which she graduated. Since she's been diagnosed with lupus, she stays in the house and mostly laying down or sitting on the couch while I'm home. All that being said, I've moved on romantically for almost a year now, and a girlfriend knows my situation and all the details. The divorce was officially submitted to the court. My lawyer keeps attempting to schedule mediation, and she won't agree to a time/date or anything to move the divorce along. Normally, me and my girlfriend get a hotel or an Airbnb, but I'm really fed up with it all and made a joke to have a slumber party, and she was actually up for it. I've kept no secrets from anyone. My wife has told me that she feels disrespected by me having her drop me off at home, so this would be a major escalation. Thoughts, please. Edit: I don't sleep with my wife. We have not been on romantic terms for years. I don't say I love you. Don't sleep in the same room. I don't and have not led her on for years. This is merely a point of me having been with her for 14 years and I care for her as a person. I don't think she's a bad person, just not the person for me. And I am tired of being held hostage in a situation/relationship that I don't want. Also, when I put move in the header, I meant to put sleepover. I just don't know how to edit that part. Is her condition self-diagnosed, or is there an actual medical report stating diagnosis? Anyway, continue the divorce process. Serve her with eviction papers and move on with your life. This did strike a nerve as far as self-diagnosis. My ex claimed lupus, a variety of cancers, heart attack, stroke. None of it was ever diagnosed by a medical professional. The last time I had any contact with her was in 2022 in a Zoom call court proceeding to discuss the $30,000 she still owed me in an unpaid child support. She told the judge that she had recently had brain surgery and had trouble understanding what was being asked of her. Smart judge kept her talking long enough for her to suddenly lose the slur in her speech. I completely agree. Continue with divorce, evict her ASAP, and enjoy the next phase of your life. As someone with an undiagnosed disease, that's likely not lupus but definitely something chronic. Stuff like this makes my blood boil. People like that, who go around and pretend to be ill, really make it hard for the rest of us to want to open up about our issues. Hope you and the kid are doing great without that baggage. Not a-hole. It's been 4 years and you're still caring for her. While it may be a little petty, it might also be the nudge she needs to finally move on. I don't think the move is petty even in the slightest. This dude is just trying to live his life. And the ex-wife knows her free ride in life is walking out the door and is being a bum now. Lol. Next story. Am I the a-hole? I stopped wearing / using what my husband gave me after he said that it's his money. I, 26 female, had been with my husband, 30 male, for 5 years. Married 3 months ago. I'm a housewife, and I have a little side job so I can buy what I want. My husband has a high-paying job that covers all the utilities and bills. Just a little background. After we got married, my husband insisted for me to stop working altogether since his paycheck can cover everything and help us live comfortably. So I agreed. Last Monday when I got home after I bought groceries, he asked how much is it. I told him it's $950 since he has requests and additions to the list. If not, it will be only $850 just like every month. After that, he got angry at me and told me to stop using his paycheck since it's not my money. I explained to him that I followed the list and got his request. He didn't listen and said that I'm basically throwing it all away. I was taken aback since I only use his money to pay the bills and utilities. I have a side job for my interests, and I never ask him something unless I needed it. I was so angry at his accusation that after that day, I began to dig up my old stuff and use it instead, and I also stopped wearing or using his gifts. He confronted me and asked why. I only said that I don't feel like throwing his money away. He looked sad and left. When I told my friends about it, they said that what I did was petty and I should listen. Some of them said that I should be pettier. My parents reprimanded me for taking things too far. It's been 4 days now and we haven't talked. I'm starting to think that I really did went too far. Am I the a-hole for rejecting his gifts? Edit. Since people are asking about why we spend such amounts on groceries every month, I would like to add that we have our weekly dinner with our friends and family, and we're usually the host. My husband likes getting those high-quality products, so I can cook those 5-star-like dishes for our family and friends. I hope you understand. Now for the comments. Not a-hole, but you need to find yourself a good job, so you don't go down the path of financial abuse. If he can throw money in your face once, he can do it again. It's awful to insist she stay home and then say she has no right to his money, like he created a situation to belittle her. His insistence that OP should stop working and his anger over the grocery bill suggest a desire for control over her life and finances. A grocery list he added items to on top of it all, with brand name stuff, so he can impress people they host with 5-star meals cooked by OP. Not a-hole. His comment about his money was hurtful, and your reaction wasn't extreme. You're justified in feeling upset. A serious conversation about finances and respect is needed. OP, after 6 years, he finally told you who he is. Believe him. You can either accept him for who he is or resist. They got married 3 months ago. In his mind, she's locked down. Makes sense for his true colors to start showing now. It's so sad how often this happens. There is a deeper, scarier thing happening here and you seem to be blind to it. I will never understand women who believe their husbands when they tell them to stop working as they will take care of them and kids. That is so stupid. It doesn't matter how much money you have spent, although some people think that the amount you told us is crazy for just 2 people. You have explained to him that you followed a list. Who made that list? Him or you, or both of you? Because if it's both of you, you can't say what he did as it makes no sense. If he did, then he is an a-hole for telling you off. Let's read through the scenario below. Your husband is beginning to show his true colors. You need to look up financial abuse and read upon it, because that's how it starts. Your husband told you that you don't have to work because he earns enough. Then when you spend money, he throws it in your face and accuses you on spending his money. That's step 1. If you don't have your own savings and separate accounts, you are bound to him and you are trapped. Step 2. What do you think will happen if children come? You will have no power over anything because he is earning and you do not. Step 3. He goes and does whatever he wants, whether it is buying stuff, spending money on whatever he wants, partying, cheating, literally anything, because he earns money and you don't. He is allowed and you are not. Step 4. The above may not apply to you, but if you are not careful, they will. Get up, get a job, not a side gig. Have separate accounts, earn money, and be independent. Just because you are married to him doesn't mean you must be financially dependent on him. Never ever do that. And above it all, 1. Set clear boundaries. 2. Agree on a budget for the week or month and stick to it. 3. Tell him to do all the shopping, or split the shopping so you do it separately. Be smart. Last story. Am I the a-hole for considering leaving my wife who cheated on me 15 years ago now that our kids are in college? My wife cheated on me 15 years ago. Her affair lasted a couple of weeks. I was really hurt at the time, but we also had twin daughters who were 3, and for me, my kids were my utmost priority, and I did not want them to struggle at all. So I decided to stay with my wife, who followed all the reconciliation steps. It took me a couple of years to regain my love for my wife after she spent a lot of effort to better herself and our relationship. However, I have never forgotten the affair, and my wife cheating on me was always on the back of my mind. It's been 15 years now, and our marriage is not without its ups and downs. But we've also gone on vacations, do date nights often, and our relationship is still pretty romantic. Our daughters turned 18 a few months ago and they are both in university now. I am really proud of both of them and cannot be happier. But now that they're both in college, and now that they're independent and entering adulthood, I have been seriously considering the possibility of a divorce. As a parent, I think I have done my job and have done my best to raise them in a loving home. I do love my wife, and if I ask her for a divorce, it will completely blindside her. But I still haven't forgotten my wife cheating on me 15 years ago, and it will always be on the back of my mind as long as we're married. Would I be the a-hole for considering divorce? Wow, this is such a tough situation. First off, you're definitely not the a-hole for having these feelings. 15 years is a long time, but emotional scars don't have an expiration date. You've clearly been a dedicated father and partner, but it's also okay to acknowledge that certain things have been weighing on you for years. However, if your wife truly has been committed to rebuilding the relationship and you've had 15 good years together, blindsiding her now might feel like a betrayal in itself. It might be worth considering counseling to sort through these feelings before making such a life-changing decision. You owe it to yourself and to her to explore if there's any way to find peace with the past. Ultimately, your happiness matters too, but transparency is key if you're thinking about leaving. It's a complicated situation, but whatever you decide, make sure it's what you genuinely need to heal and be happy. The only thing I would add to your advice is that OP should probably get individual counseling, whether or not he decides to divorce. And if he is uncertain at all, consider marriage counseling even if they already did that. If you're prepared to live alone, it's a big shock to the system to be single suddenly in middle age. Big shock. You may not find it all that great. Dating later in life is excruciating. So many people you'll meet will be the walking wounded. I left my angry, controlling husband after 14 years, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. Putting the pieces back together has taken 4 painful years. To be honest, I don't recommend it unless it's really necessary. If I do divorce, I plan on moving back close to where my family lives. Dating isn't really on my mind now. It'll be nice to spend time with my father and sister, who has been sort of begging me to just get the divorce now that my kids are in college. Not the a-hole, but I'm wondering how you'll tell your daughters. I'm assuming they don't know about the affair. I'm genuinely curious. Will you now tell them what their mom did, or just say you guys fell out of love? I'll say we fell out of love.